Welcome to all of you out there, my dear astrology friends. This is a video that is just about the nodes that are shifting into different signs. So I'm going to have a look at around and about the 18th of July of this year. The nodes are going to shift from Scorpio, Taurus, into Libra and Aries. And I'm going to talk about that in general, what the flavor is, but also for each and every sign, what the purpose is and what is the meaning of that and what area of our lives is affected by that. So let's have a look first and foremost about these nodes. So they are technical points pointing towards our future and our destiny, but also where we are coming from. So, and they stay in a sign approximately like 1 year and a half. So what I'm saying now and what is shifting around and about the 18th of July is not just for July, but for like 1.5 years. And the North Node and South Node are terms in astrology that can point towards very important interpretations of our destiny and where it is good that we focus on ourselves. So it's a very spiritual kind of information in a chart. But those nodes, they also transit, they also go into the chart. Actually, they go backwards. So the North Node was in Taurus, and now it is going backwards into Aries, which is the sign just before Taurus. And for the South Node was in Scorpio, and now it's shifting into Libra, the sign before that. So let's just start with the collective and what does it mean? Let's start with the South Node, because the South Node shows what we need to let go of. So on a collective level, you could say the South Node is something that we've accomplished already, that is comfortable, and that we need to let go of. Of course, we want to do when there is a sign, like every sign has a good side and a not so good side. So every sign is neutral, but it has a challenge as well. And when we're talking about the South Node, we want to have those things not occurring in our life anymore that is not so positive. And that is associated with that particular sign. So we are going to have eclipses there. You know, it's starting is it in October that we are going to have eclipses? Anyway, it's not now, but it kind of forces us into circumstances around us that gives us that opportunity to indeed let go of that karmic tie and of that karmic pattern that has suited us for a long time, and we have respect for it, but now we have to let go of it. So in Libra, what does it say? So it's going to start at 29 degrees of Libra, 28 degrees of Libra, and so on. What it is saying that the comfort of finding the balance of you could say in a challenging way, Libra has to watch out. The pitfall of Libra is definitely people pleasing. And of course, you can have the balance in a healthy relationship. It's a give and take. And that's what Libra is all about in a positive way. But when we go too far into that, so when we go too far with something that is actually good, we go into the negative. We go into the people pleasing. We go into the not taking in consideration our own needs, and we just focus on that other person. And so it makes us then to be the star in the life of someone else, except for our own lives. So it is definitely for the collective a call for not to become selfish and doing the opposite. No, thank you very much. But for be a warning sign that we have to live our own lives and we have to be the stars in our own lives in order to be honest, which is the North Node in Aries. So the biggest thing is the letting go of, this where the South Node is the letting go of, relationships that have had their expiration date. Are we going to see a lot of relationships done and stopping? Absolutely. Especially with this South Node in Libra, and especially during the month of July with Uranus squaring up to Venus. And especially also in July and even August, Pluto squaring up these new fresh nodes, because Pluto is all about reality, authenticity, and transformation and karmic ties, that when they're done, they're done. When something is dead, it's no use to carry death with you, basically. So definitely, certainly in July and August, a wake-up call for our relationships. Again, if you are saying, hey, my relationship is fairly good, there are some pluses and some minuses. So most relationships, they will get through this, and ultimately there will be the balance again. But relationships that are not so good and that have not been good for a long time, with a lot of minuses and just only one or two pluses, this is not gonna, there are going to be circumstances that this is done, right? And so it's up to us to discern. And it's up to us to not only discern and see what's going on there, but also with the circumstances to make a decision. And so it's a very interesting time on a collective level for relationships this July and August for sure. But it's a liberation as well of that area, where the South Node is traveling. In this case, in Libra, it's some sort of a liberation that comes up. So, and it's very karmic. So we are not going to, don't be afraid that because you choose for yourself, for instance, because it's so important, because otherwise you go down as well, for instance. Don't think that this is, a person or a situation that you will still need for your future. No, we always get what we need at the particular time. And so karmically, actually, I do believe that we all have expiration dates with people, and some connections with people are for a lifetime, others are for 6 months, others are for a couple of years. We don't know that. And but now we are going to feel it very strongly, like who's in, who's out, and who's in for the long run. And that is a beautiful thing. So what is then, besides the letting go, and besides of what do we have to see as our pitfall, what is it that we have to aim for, which is always shown in the North Node, always. So when we look at the transit of the North Node, it's like the North Node is a bit like Jupiter. Well, it's not the same at all, but it shows Jupiter is about expansion as well. Jupiter is foreign. Jupiter is new and fresh and exciting and purposeful. So is the North Node. The North Node shows if we are interested in spirituality, in other words, if we are interested to heal and to grow in our lives and to understand that we are an element of the whole, of the bigger picture, then we focus on the North Node. We focus on that North Node and we go for it. And when we do so, growth will be given to us, because that's what we are destined to go for. So for instance, if we have that North Node in the 7th house, it's like the cosmos talking to us like, do relationship, connect with new people, do so. It's good for your growth. It's good for your development. It's that kind of energy. So it's a lot when people are in readings asking me like they don't know what their purpose is and so on. We all have those stages in life where we don't know it anymore. I look at the nodes, and in particular the North Node, but also the South Node, what we need to let go of. So in this case, Aries, what is this all about? We are invited for individuality. We are invited for honesty. We are all invited to go for action, to go for excitement and fresh action. It's almost visceral, it's a very physical sign. It's ruled by Mars. So therefore, we are all invited to do pioneering actions, to get out of the comfort zone, because the North Node is always getting out of the comfort zone. So a lot of people are not even reflecting on that. A lot of people, and that's okay, but a lot of people who live their lives, they're not even reflecting on, oh yes, I'm getting out of my comfort zone to grow. But with this, you can grow tremendously, because this is all about not so much taking into consideration other people. Again, it doesn't mean to go to the extreme. It's to rebalance maybe for years and years and years in a certain area of your life, which we'll jump into in a minute. You have been giving away too much or investing too much and forgotten that developing your own individuality is also important. So really developing your voice, your path, knowing what your goals are, following your instincts. Aries is a very impulsive sign, but it all has to do with courage. It all has to do with making a choice, deciding, and even if it has consequences, you know that you are going to be accountable for that. So it's sitting in the driver's seat. It's really and I see it already coming with the stories that I'm hearing in readings. It's all about not being afraid as well of conflict. You see, it's the opposite of the Libra. It's the people pleaser. It wants peace. And that's good to a certain extent. It is. Don't get me wrong here. It's not about this is good and this is bad. It's way more complicated than that. But it's all about balance in connections and relationships. The axis of Aries and Libra, we all have it in our chart. We all find it not easy or sometimes challenging to stand up for ourselves, but also to take into account other people. It is like that. But it is up to us to find that balance. And that is what this transit of those nodes is all about for sure. So not being afraid of conflict and sitting with the uncomfortable energy of, for instance, if you say no because you go for your own goal and you have to say no to a person, and sitting with that energy, that is Aries. That is like, it's not like it's my way or the highway, but you're doing it for a reason. And it's honest. It's a hunger for honesty for sure, because the North Node always shows some sort of a hunger, some sort of I want to develop in that area of my life. And if you're not going to do that, because it's karmic, the universe is going to prompt you into those things. And because it's the unconscious that attracts situations towards us. So a big desire for pioneering, a big desire for action. I think this is something really, really interesting that we are going for. And it's so different from the last year and a half when we had the North Node in Taurus, which was all for stability and which was for comfort. Although we did have also Uranus in Taurus. So that was a bit of a contradiction there. But now it's way more daring. So the new things that we are going through, it's like a double whammy. The North Node also wants us to explore new things, new situations. And Aries is like that as well. It is also, Aries is a sign that wants experiences and new experiences and to be fully in, it's a very instinctive sign. So it's a double whammy of this energy. So let's have a look at what area of your life that is going to be for you, where you need to be a little bit more going towards that good Aries energy. Good Aries energy, it's not about being selfish, but it's about taking responsibility, being accountable. It's a cardinal sign. It's about leadership. Yeah, absolutely. So let's get started. By the way, during the month of July, so this energy is for a year and a half, but now specifically in July and in August, it's very, very karmic. Why? Because of this Venus square Uranus on the relationship level already, right? It's about, Venus is the ruler of Libra, and we're talking about the South Node coming into Libra, squaring Uranus. So a lot of ties are going to be cut that are not necessary anymore, so that we can go for the newness, which is where Aries is and to explore there. But the thing is that it's so karmic and so full of those cycles because of the square also to Pluto. So Pluto is back into Capricorn at 29, 28 degrees, squaring up to the North Node and squaring up to the South Node. So this is like a triple whammy almost of karmic cycles that are, it's like in the tarot, the world card, right? It's like the world card, things are like, ending and starting all up again and in a new way. And so again, death and rebirth, transformation. If you see that something, particularly where the South Node is, where Libra is, if something is going away from you, don't try to cling on. That is because Pluto is there involved as well. If we cling on, Pluto is all about surrender, basically. We think that Pluto is about, forcing things and taking action. And no. It's about the strength of you want something, but you have trust that if it's for you, it's going to come. And when not, rejection is God's protection. That it's something other is waiting for you. Something else is waiting for you that is even better for you. So very karmic times that we are going into. What a July that we have. What a month this is. It's the most important month of the whole year. But anyway, for Aries, of course, all that I said in the beginning is applicable for you. You are in Aries. If you have your moon there, your sun, or your ascendant, your rising sign, this is all about you. This is all about you exploring your path. This is all about you being more focused towards you. I have my moon in Aries, for instance, and I'm really, really looking forward for this, being a little bit more selfish, being a little bit, and again, not to be an asshole, but really to consider where you have invested too much in people. The seventh house is your business partner, it's your clients, it's your significant other, people who are very important for you, could be on a romantic level, but also your mentors. That where is it that you've invested maybe a little bit too much in them and too little in yourself? So it's about you going more towards yourself. And the North Node is about being a bit more looking at what your needs are and taking action towards that. It could be a goal that is related to work. It could probably, for a lot of you, because it squares up to Pluto in your 10th house of work, it could simply mean very simple that you just want to have more expressing yourself, who you are, and saying no a little bit more than you normally would do, and saying yes to yourself. So it's your time, Aries. And I think people who've got planets in Aries will absolutely love this energy because of the fact that other people can sometimes hold them back. And of course, whether it is children or people or your partner or whatever, but people in general can hold you back when it comes to your goals. And now this is shifting. This is a time now for you to go for yourself, to shift, especially in July, because Mars will be in Virgo. That's your 6th house. So to shift your routines, your day-to-day life, your day-to-day work, to make shifts there so that you are more Aries. So which is a true Aries is a courageous person. It's a person that goes for it, that knows what it wants, and that is fearful to do so maybe every now and then, but doing it anyway. Courage, pioneering. That is all what Aries is all about. So go for it, Aries. Where is it? Actually, the first house it could be everything. I mean, it can be everything. It can be, it's the most important house. It can be your physicality. You could be training more, to have some, better physics. Literally, you are ruled by Mars, so you don't have to do a lot to have a little bit more muscles there. For instance, if you want to do a little bit more training or so that your body is a bit more fit, this is a time with this energy. Absolutely. So you could improve your health, you could improve your looks, your physique. and also your goals that you want, whether it is going for a new relationship, whether it is going for a new job, as much as is it new and it suits you very, very much. Taurians, this is happening in the axis. So you have had the North Node in your sign for a long time. Now it shifts into your 12th and 6th house. So the 12th house is the focus, and the 6th house is where you need to let go of. So let's start with that. What you need to let go of is that Libra house is in the 6th house. That has to do with your work. So you could be stopping a job, letting go of a job that is no longer suiting you. That is karmically like, the end cycle. You could be stopping with doing those routines every single day. Taurians, they are kind of people who are very earthly and down to earth, and they stick to their routines. But now it's like the universe saying, those routines over and over again, you will feel that it's no longer giving you growth. It's giving you comfort, yes, but remember, if you want to grow, you have to go to the North Node. So this is a bit less focusing on those day-to-day routines, less focusing on your work, basically. And so for some of you who are very work-driven and very driven for success, it's going to be a little bit more tough. For those of you who are saying like, yeah, I feel it already and I'm going for it and I'm not going to go against the energy, it's going to be easier, of course. But where do you need to put on the focus? Am I saying now that you have to stop your job? And no, of course not. It's just less focus on that. It's less focus on the job and the work things and the routines and the responsibilities and fixing problems and micromanaging all of that. It's more your destiny is more towards the 12th house. What is the 12th house? It's relaxation. It is spirituality. It is meditating. It is, understanding that there is more to just those day-to-day routines. That there is, so it could be a good thing if you want to relax more, if you want to be more spiritual, if you want to feel that you are an element of the whole, if you want to understand that your unconscious is such a richness that to explore that with meditation, for instance. Now, what is the pitfall? The pitfall is escapism. So, because that's also the 12th house. The 12th house is also like what we do to escape, right? You could just go to faraway countries and just to escape your real problems, for instance. So that's not the purpose here. Or you could escape into self-undoing practices, right? Things that are hidden and that you don't want to show, but that is not healthy. This is actually very unhealthy for your mental health. And, the physical health, the mental health, it's the axis of the 6th and the 12th house. Now, a good thing could be, because the South Node is in the 6th house, because the South Node goes through that 6th house, that a problem that you already had that was like of long-term karmic, chronic kind of problem, physical, could come up, and to deal with it for once and for all, so that you are, that for once and for all, that it could be, for instance, your skin or your kidneys or whatever it is that you had a problem on and off. Now is the time where karmically you are like, you've gone through that process and you are karmically ready to let go of that, of an illness. So that is a positive sign, of course. But again, very interesting and Pluto is in your 9th house, so it's really waking you up to see the bigger picture. Very interesting for Taurians, but very much behind the scenes, you could say. Geminis. This is really lovely, I think, because Aries and Libra, that goes well with your Gemini energy. So you are going to feel those eclipses in a more positive way. And so the letting go of, the energy of letting go, the energy of you could say the comfort zone. The Libra zone is the 5th house. So for you, it's like letting go a little bit more of what you specifically want to enjoy yourself and do things on your own and do things for your own enjoyment and your hobbies and so on. But putting a bit less focus on that, less focus on your own projects and children as well. Of course, not neglecting them, but putting a little bit less focus on that and more focus on your 11th house, which is your goals for the future, which is friends as well. So some of you might have new connections with friends. Some of you who have a business of your own, this is fantastic energy because it's a money house as well. So it shows more money, more networking, more like, I see it as a social media house as well. So bombard, if you have your own business, bombard social media with your services or products that you sell, because this 11th house is fantastic for that. Doing things in groups as well with other people. And Aries is like bold and you being the leader and you going for it. And so taking the lead, you could say, in doing something new, maybe making workshops and whatnot, or doing things with your friends together in a very kind of Aries kind of way, something new, something you haven't done before, something that is exciting. Friends could be also being a bit Aries-like, so very daring and feisty, but also a bit like foreign and expansive and helping you to have a bigger horizon. So very positive energy for you. Cancerians, this is very important, especially for your cardinal sign, and these nodes are shifting into other cardinal signs. Always shows definitely when you have planets around the very end of Cancer, you're going to feel that the most because now, so you're definitely in for some karmic events here because this is happening all in the 10th house. So what you need to let go of or do a little bit less focus on is your 4th house, which is a bit contradictory to your sign because the 4th house is your home and family. And Cancerians are known that this is an important area of their life. But now the universe is for the upcoming, it's temporary, it's not always, but for the upcoming year and a half, the universe is asking you to put a little bit less focus on your family and on relatives. But it could also mean, by the way, not for all of you, that one of your parents, there is a big shift happening for them. So yes, a very transformational shift for one of your parents, particularly for those of you who have planets at the very end of Cancer. There is some shifts of circumstances that are out of your control. So keep that in mind. And but the goal is that, again, understand this karmic cycle, that things are how they should be. And but it's easier said than done. But your focus lies in the 10th house, which is your social status, which is your work as well, your career. You could be having totally new plans. So this is good for, because the North Node is there in Aries. So doing something new, doing something that gives you energy, that gives you excitement. And it can give you a lot of success in the long run if you do so. So you could go for a new job or definitely go for a different job or explore in another way. And it's the 10th house is a second ascendant, I call it. So it's showing who you are. And it's feisty, it's fiery. It's a lot of fire energy there in that house. So with the eclipses there, you are going to be emotionally driven as well. It's like that 1 year and a half, you want to put so much in it. And it's the universe is saying it's possible. It's possible to have big growth during this time. But there's a square to Pluto in your 7th house. So your relationships are so tested at this particular moment in July and August. So also be aware of that. Be aware that you can't change other people. You have to make those decisions. And in the long run, it can be a bit of a crisis prone of July and August for Cancerians here. But ultimately, in the end, it's to improve your situation. So it's not those crises that could come for you, particularly in relationships, particularly in current relationships. If you are married or if you are with a partner, a business partner as well, that could come up things that were hidden for a long time. It's time now to show it, to deal with it. And but that demands a lot of courage and trust in the self, trust in the universe. And that focus on your 10th house is going to help you with that. So interesting energy for the Cancerians. Leos, this is nice energy. Why? Because this Aries energy, it's in the North Node, is a fellow fire sign. So you will feel this in the most positive way. You together with the Sagittarians. So what is this all about? This is in your 9th house, this North Node, and the South Node in the 3rd. So the South Node in the 3rd is to step away from those contacts that or investing a bit less investing in the people around you, like siblings, like neighbors, like those day-to-day contacts are a bit less important here. Again, it's not about neglecting them, but a bit less. And where do you need to go? Towards the 9th house, which is more abstract, grandiose in a way of, not grandiose, but in a positive way. It's like, go travel far away places, go study something that collects all the dots, which is philosophy, astrology. 9th house is associated with universities, to see the bigger picture. So do a course or some or a study if you can. If you don't like that, go travel, or maybe you teaching, you traveling, teaching, publishing, exploring, being interested in different culture, being interested in international affairs. All these things are so positive for you. Your mindset, exploring like a new way of seeing life, a new way of your opinions, and new opinions that you've never dealt with before. What an exciting time for you to explore this. And yes, Pluto is there in your 6th house. So there is a transformation going on in your day-to-day life. But again, with this nodes shifting into such a positive house for you is amazing. So for those of you who are studying or wanting to study, this is great. This is your destiny. For those of you who are teaching, who have a message, basically, whether it is on YouTube, a book, a blog, go for it. Go for it. It's about achieving lots of different people instead of more like the neighborhood. So maybe you are like having your own business, for instance, and you're doing the PR in the neighborhood and putting flyers out there. It's going now more towards making a website with different languages, so you can attract people from all over the world. It's that kind of energy for you. Wonderful. Very, very great to explore and expand your wisdom and your point of view. Virgos, this is a deep behind the scenes kind of transits for you, because the North Node will be in your 8th house, the South Node in the 2nd house. So what does it mean? It means that what you need to focus a little bit less on is the 2nd house, is your self-efficiency, micromanaging, working hard, you doing all the stuff. You could say, you never demand or help from others. You all do the things by yourself. It sounds very Virgo-like, doesn't it? Well, the upcoming year and a half, it's better to focus a little bit less on that. Of course, you still have to do your job and the pays need to be billed and you have to work, but focus a little bit more on your 8th house, because there is a tendency to grow fast, that 8th house. And that is resources of other people. That is money of other people. It could be your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend. That there is investments there, or there is an inheritance, getting money from other people, tax returns, All these things could come to you because of the North Node there, and you focusing on that. So it's definitely a money house that could give you more money without you doing the effort, basically. But it's also resources of other people, not financially. So emotionally, there could be like a hunger for more intimacy, for realness, in a whether you are single or not, there's definitely a possibility and an opportunity for more romance on a more, you could say, um, a level of body, mind, and soul, right? Like it's falling deeply for someone. It's like, yes, I want their body, I want their mind, and I want their soul. It's that kind of scorpionic energy in the 8th house where the North Node is in Aries. So it's very Mars driven. It's very active, but behind the scenes. So you could be doing a lot to have more intimacy in your life, to be more vulnerable. It's something that Virgos don't like to do because they want to be perfect all of the time. But now you are asked to show truly, at least to one person in your life, to share intimacy with. It's a beautiful thing to become more intimate with someone, which demands vulnerability, which is scary. And but these are the things that you are developing through, which demands trust. Oh yes, trust issues could come up for sure. But they come up to handle them, to heal from them, to tackle them. Therefore, the 8th house is also seen as a very deep psychological house. Could mean for others an interest in the occult, an interest in astrology, an interest in crises, so that you go to the root of the matter and that you can turn it around and transform it. And definitely in your own life, where where is fear coming from? What is it saying? When I feel fear in my body, for instance, where does it come from? What does my body want to say? And all those deep psychological digging can give you a tremendous amount of wisdom and growth and being able to tackle your own shadow. So definitely look in the mirror for your shadow. Look in the mirror what it is that you're pointing towards others maybe, but it's in you, right? So this is that shadow work. It can give you so much for a year and a half. You can work on your shadow. You can work on putting light on it, and then you become so much stronger. It's like you are transformed then. You become so much stronger if you know where your shadow is coming from and if you heal from that. So a lot of healing qualities here for the Virgos. And Pluto squares up in your 5th house. So there's honesty coming up from the heart chakra, like a letting go and a surrendering towards, the heart energy. Very beautiful, very deep. Librans, of course, you Librans especially, you will feel this shift, and especially the ones who've got planets at the very end of Libra, gonna feel it the most, because this is with the South Node in your sign. It's a humbling thing. It's a humbling thing. It means that the old you is going. And it's not that you are gonna lose yourself and then you are going for someone else. That is the pitfall, that you are losing yourselves completely and you're just projecting everything on another person. That's not what you want. What you want is to shed that skin that is no longer suiting you. So that has to do with the beginning of the video is so significant for you, because I talk a lot about that South Node and North Node there, and especially the people-pleasing, conflict-avoiding kind of energy that needs to go here, but that have served you for a long time. And now you are ready to let go of those parts of you, so that a new you can emerge from it. And but it's a lot with shedding off that skin. So it's really reaching out to other people, reaching out, especially when you're single. There could be someone else there for sure. Even if you are in a relationship, there could be like growth happening there with the North Node there, or new people coming into your life who are carrying with you that excitement that you are actually going for. Because of this Aries energy, you're going to attract very exciting people to say the least. You always do that with Libra, especially if you have a rising sign for Libra. To a lesser extent, the moon and the sun. But this is all about learning from others, and finding that balance, and strengthening yourself, and by shedding off the skin and letting emerge a new you. And that attracts new people, because when you are shedding off the skin of the old you, you're going to attract new people in your life, for sure. For sure. And for those of you who are looking for new relationships, it's definitely there. There's definitely interest there. There's definitely also strong sexuality there, with this North Node and Aries being a very visceral sign, very instinctive sign. So go for it, explore it, and know that with this energy, and with Pluto in your 4th house, so this emotional wisdom that is emerging here, it's shifting a lot of you Librans. It's shifting a lot of Librans towards those cycles that they need to go through in order for them to understand that giving and taking needs to be in a balance. And but that is also about seeing what another person is showing and copy pasting that in a way. Very interesting energy. Scorpios, this is happening in your 6th house, the North Node, and the 12th house is where the South Node is, so where you need to let go of, which is definitely for people who, the 12th house is the house of undoing. It is the house of addictions. It is that not everyone has them, but it is that house of the unconscious, and where we tend to go to sabotage ourselves. Now, being the South Node there, it could mean that karmically there is an end for an addiction that you have, or something that you escape, that you use as an escape form that has run out its cycle. And that's a good thing, of course, because the North Node is in your 6th house, where your focus needs to be, which is on fixing problems, day-to-day routines, that kind of busyness. It can be a new job that you're going for. It can be a new fitness regime that you're going for. Whatever it is, being in the here and the now is recommended for the Scorpios. A bit less meditating, a bit less, being all spiritual and on a cushion and all of that. No, being really practical, real, down to earth. That is your mission for the upcoming year and a half. And it could really, really help you to shed off those old patterns that are not, those unhealthy patterns that are no longer serving you. So that is definitely a very interesting energy for you. And Pluto with the 3rd house, this is really the way that you think on a day-to-day level is shifting completely. So yes, a focus on your day-to-day life. It might sound a little bit boring, but it isn't. It's going to give you more peace. It's going to give you more fulfillment as well, and growth. So definitely, if you're one of those Scorpios who wants a new job, it's possible. And it could really grow very fast here as well. Sagittarians, dear fellow Sagittarians. This is, I have my rising sign, ascendant in Sagittarius. This is nice energy for you. Why? Because Aries is a fellow fire sign. So you're having the nodes in a fellow fire sign, which is always amazing. And it's in your 5th house, which is lovely. So let's have a look where it is stepping away from, where the South Node is, where Libra is. Where do you need to focus a little bit less on? Well, the opinions of your friends. Actually, some friends could go or no longer. The karmic cycle, right? Those cycles that have ended. And there could be like some goals that are accomplished, Like you might have had a goal to do this or that, and it's coming around here when the South Node is in the 11th house. A goal of yours, you've accomplished it, and you can let go of it now. And and also, fitting into a group of people with like-minded people and all of that is less important now. And the focus needs to be more on what you love, what your heart desires. So it's being hungry for like enjoying yourself. Of course, you can do that for better or for worse. But in a positive way, it's definitely you doing more exploration around a project, for instance, or your own business, establishing that, or children, wanting to focus more on having a kid, or your child goes through this new phase in exploration and so on, and do something very exciting as well. But in general, it's about your hobbies, the things that you do to enjoy yourself. Those things, the things that you love to do. For one person, it's sports. For Aries is quite active. Sagittarians. That's why they say that Sagittarians risings, they are very sporty, because the 5th house is Aries and it's the house of sports and recreation and so on. And Mars is ruled by that. So doing lots of sports, doing lots of exercises and whatnot, or doing the things that you love to do, they are very active, like running and doing the things for yourself, and romance as well. So if you are a single Sagittarian, wow, this is very sexual, very visceral, very sexual energy here with that North Node in your 5th house, and very fiery connection here. The 5th house is where it all starts. So you want that as well. You want your heart beating a little bit faster there for someone. And you're going to attract those circumstances way easier for you as well. So if you're someone who's been single for years and years and years, this is a good sign that you're going to meet the new people here that are, quite exciting, where you can do lots of exciting things with that you love to do. Going skiing with a loved one. It's not the time for that here. But anyways, I'm just saying those things that are very active and you feel that you are alive. It's that house, the 5th house. And it's trining your house. So what a nice energy this is. And yes, do a little bit less people pleasing of those people that of your social circle. It's stepping away from that and going more to your heart's desire. But this Pluto in your 2nd house, there's a lot about your value system as well. So make sure your value system is in check, so that you're not doing something that undermines your value system because of the square to this Pluto in your 2nd house. So Capricorns, this is very important for you. Why? You are a cardinal sign, and it's happening in the 4th house, which is the North Node shift, and the South Node is in your 10th house. This is a bit contradictory for you. Why? Because the South Node, which means letting go of, is in the house of your house, which is the 10th house, and which is all about career. It could also be associated with parents. So it's a bit the same like with the Cancerians, that a parent, there could be a huge shift here going on with them. And that is tied to karmic cycles as well, especially the ones who've got planet at the very end of Capricorn, like 29, 28, 27 degrees of Capricorn. You will feel this very strongly. But it's a stepping away actually from that 10th house. It's a stepping away, a bit less focus on the career. Again, things, you don't have to stop your work, but you have now a calling for more emotional work, more emotional well-being. And that is with the North Node there. So putting a focus a little bit more on your family, a little bit more on, your family, your home, and being there all, Yes, it's definitely about exploring more your emotions. Again, it's a bit contradictory to what Capricorn is all about, but these are temporary energies. And it's when you go for that. You could also, with the North Node in your fourth house, and especially if you're looking for a new home, you could really go and find your dream house, for instance, with this North Node shifting. I've seen many people really finding their homes, and that is a beautiful thing because it gives you security, emotional security. For some of you, it's not definitely those outer things like a home, but it's more the emotional security, the feeling within that you nurture yourself so that you are your own best parent, basically. By nurturing yourself, what do you need emotionally? And you going after that. Yes, you still have your work or the social status, that is, what your the pieces that you contribute to the world, so to speak, your energy. But it's also about how you want to nurture yourself. So it's a very deep energy here for the Capricorns, and um, it's very important here that you surrender to, with this Pluto here as well, squaring up to those nodes, surrendering to the parts of you that are no longer suiting. So if you're one of those control freaks, which a lot of Capricorns are, this is a sign for you to let go and to trust God and to, trust not only God, but first and foremost yourself. Aquarians, this is lighter energy for the Aquarians. This is lovely energy because Aries and Libra goes well with Aquarius. So what is this all about that you need to let go of? It is the South Node in your ninth house. This is letting go of those opinions that you have been having for years and years and years that you thought were right, that are no longer suiting for you. This is a very, very pivotal, important thing. And sometimes people think, oh, this is easy. It's not, because it's like, for instance, an analogy is like belonging to a certain political party all of your life and now shifting to the opposite party. You see what I mean? So it's like, but you need, the karmic cycle has ended here, that you need to let go of certain perspectives that you've been having on life. They are no longer suiting you. Maybe there's a perspective that you have in life that says like, I don't know, any perspective basically, but a perspective like when things are happening to me, I kind of have no power to do something. Maybe you have that kind of perspective in life, and now that has to go. You need to go towards a new perspective that is more practical, which is the North Node in your third house, which is listening to people in the neighborhood that have a certain way of thinking, and you might adapt those ways because they are suiting you better. And with the third house is the house of the siblings. It's the house of the neighbors, people in the neighborhood, the people you see on a daily basis. So just to kind of be integrating yourself with these people is so important, and stepping a little bit more away from those abstract ideas that maybe have served you up until now, but no longer serving you in a way. So it squares up to Pluto in your 12th house, which was all about your patterns, right? Your patterns that are no longer serving you. The 12th house has to do with, with escapism. So there could be like something reveals itself so that you have to tackle that you cannot escape anymore, and that you have to be in the here and the now, and that you have to be a bit more practical and a bit more lighter there in that third house. But again, this third house goes very well with your energy. So all in all, very nice energy for the Aquarians. Pisceans, this is in your second house, your North Node, and the 8th house is where you need to let go of, and where the South Node is in Libra. So you need to be a little bit more selfish, a little bit more, you could say, going for the self-sufficiency, for doing your own thing, being very earthly and all of that, and stepping away from what other people are offering you and their value that they have. So putting less emphasis on their value, let's put it that way. Definitely, if you are in a relationship, it could mean stepping away a little bit more from the focus of the energies that you merge together and going a little bit more towards what you bring to the table in your life. You know, it's hustling for the money. It's working hard to have the luxury that you want to have, to feel safe and to feel comfortable, not being dependent on others so much, but not that it's just a temporary thing, by the way. It's 1 year and a half to focus a bit more on you, how you can do this. Resources are so important. How can you improve your resources? How can you improve your finances? And the things that are not from you, that, I know Pisceans, that they kind of collect things of everyone else. It's time now to give that away, to detach yourself from that. The good news is that if you've been a Piscean that has been going from crisis to crisis, this could stop now with the South Node shifting into the 8th house. It's like a stepping away from, or it could be really a cycle where you had lots of fears and deep psychological stuff that was really triggering you all of the time. That could be now in a healing phase, because of that South Node. It's very spiritual transit, by the way. Having that South Node there in your 8th house of the Scorpionic house there. It's really those traumatic crises. They've had their time. Expiration date. So you are focused more on the now, on the here and the now, more on the being a bit less interested, you could say. It's a bit contradictory to what Pisceans are all about, but being a bit less interested in the occult, in the psychological stuff of life, and being a bit more interested in the 5 senses, the good foods, the good drinks, the beautiful clothes, good quality clothes, all that kind of stuff. I know it doesn't sound really Piscean, but it's now temporarily good for you to focus on that and to welcome that. And I think that's a very beautiful thing. There's also squaring up to Pluto in your 11th house of friends. So there could be something transformative happening with a friend or a friend circle that is no longer suiting you and that you're making a transformation there. It could also be a goal that has established and that you say, look, I'm going for this new goal, which is going for my own resources. It's a very good sign for those Pisceans who want to have a more stable financial situation. But it's going to come from you. It's going to come from your own efforts and not actually, you could say, not expecting anything from others and not really taking into account the resources of other people, not being dependent on them. When they come, they are good. I'm not saying that you have to be totally independent when it comes to your resources, but focusing a little bit more on your independency towards your resources is definitely going to be very successful for you for the upcoming year and a half. Having said that, I wish you all the best with these shifts of the North. And it's starting with a big boom, right? With that, not a big boom. It's more like a catharsis kind of energy, you could say, with this Pluto there and with this Venus square Uranus. So I hope it was interesting for you. Thank you so much for watching, for sharing. Share these videos, like them, subscribe them, only if you want, of course. And thank you so much. Bye-bye.